Well, hey, everybody, welcome back to Redefining Hustle Pursuing Success as a Christian Woman. All this month of October, we've been talking about expanding your expertise through different ways that your message can go further. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about building a community with an expert who has built a major community of women, and I am really excited to have her here because I am part of her mastermind. She is also one of my coaching clients, and she is gifted in building community that benefits others and gives everyone a seat at the table. So please give a warm welcome to my guest, AliceAnne Loftus of Leading Lady. AliceAnne, tell us first, I'm so excited to have you here. Tell
Thank
us a
you.
little bit about you and then your journey of building out the Leading Lady community.
Oh goodness, how much time do we have? So thank you. Thanks for having me here today. I'm truly honored. I love any time with you. So I'm just gonna
Thank you.
think of this as time with a dear girlfriend, and we're just chatting away. So I have been a small business owner, entrepreneur for almost 2 decades. I think, yeah, 2 decades. And my background is in education. Would you believe it? I started teaching kindergarten. So I did not see myself as a business owner or a community builder, but God called me to do things bigger, and I didn't steer away from that. So I started my first business when I was pregnant with my daughter, and took what I knew as an educator and what I wanted as a mom, and started at my own private childcare centers. And that was definitely a learning experience for me, because I was not a business owner. I did not have a business background. I didn't go to college for business. So I had to learn a lot of things as I went. It was kind of like building the plane while you're learning to fly. And going through the recession of 2008, I really had to make some tough business decisions. Went through that, and actually came through it not just surviving but thriving, and ended up expanding and opening another location. And so other childcare providers were reaching out to me, and they're saying, "AliceAnne, how did you do that? How are you staying profitable in your business?" And I realized through all that I loved business.
Mm.
I really love business. I love the numbers. I love learning about the marketing, learning about your clients, just everything about it. And eventually, people from other industries started reaching out to me.
Mm.
Salons, clothing boutiques, realtors, all these people were reaching out, and they're saying, "How did you do this with your business?" Now, you know me, one of my core values is excellence. And so I didn't want people to just take my word for it. I didn't want to just say, "Oh, well, this is what I did in my business." So I actually went back to school. I went back to school, got a degree in leadership administration, then went back to coaching school. I really wanted to know that how I was working with people, or what the advice that I was telling people was grounded ethically, and that I was really being helpful to them. So Leading Lady was born in 2016. Gosh, 8 years already. Isn't that wild? And I started working with first large corporations, private independent schools. I worked with Anne Arundel County Police, Anne Arundel County Community College, a couple local private schools, and I quickly learned who I didn't want to work with.
Mm.
And I knew that my calling really was specifically working with women, small business owners, women leaders of organizations, not so much like like a corporate
Sure.
group.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's really started with just me meeting women in coffee shops, and kind of sharing our challenges that we have. I mean, mind you, when I started my first business, I was in my early 20s. I was
Mhm.
21, 22. And people would say, pat me on the head and say, "Oh, she's so cute," and send her off on her little way. Like no one was taking me seriously.
Mhm.
Go back to playing with crayons and glue. Like you're so cute for starting a business. So I really wanted to create a space where women felt validated,
Mhm.
where they weren't dismissed, where they could talk about real challenges of, you know, running a business while also raising a family. And
Mhm.
oh, by the way, don't forget you got to take care of yourself too, all of
Right.
these things. And so we started meeting in local coffee shops and restaurants. And then I created a Facebook group. So after we weren't, after our little coffee date, we could keep the conversation going. Erin, I had no idea that it would explode the way
Yeah.
that it did.
Yeah.
No idea. Next thing I knew, like people are just adding their friends and people they work with to this group. And here we are, 6,500 women
Mhm. Wow.
later. And I would say, when I'm on Facebook, that's the group I'm going to.
Mhm.
That I'm
Mhm.
checking in there. And not just because it's mine, but because it feels good.
Yeah.
The women are really supportive and connected, and it just feels like a really safe place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that you said I think is so powerful is that you understood who you didn't want to work with.
Mhm.
And that is so key for us, right? And I'm sure that you coach women through that. So why is that so important? I know it's not on the community topic, but
Yeah.
why is it so important that we really identify who's not our person?
Oh, for so many reasons. I think number one is just to stand in your authentic gifts. I can coach a lot of different people. I have coached a lot of different people. And I'm sure you have too. And sometimes someone who's not the right client gets in there and
Mhm.
you don't feel energized. You know that you're not showing up as your best because you're not excited or passionate or using your talents and your strengths, your gifts. You're trying to fit what they need instead of stand in what God
Mm,
blessed you with.
that's right. Mhm.
It's it's I think knowing your ideal client and working with the clients that are meant for you,
Yeah.
and this is through my work with you that I really learned it. It's when I'm able to show up as my best.
Yeah.
And I think that's really powerful. We spend so much of our lives trying to be what other people need us to be.
That's right.
And um, when we just show up in who we are meant to be, the right people will find us.
That's right. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for touching in that because
Mhm.
that it's just so critical. So you are a community builder. You built Leading Ladies, but
Mhm.
you were also, I don't know the timing of it, but you also were doing some workshops. You offer a
Mhm.
master class. How did all of that tie together with the community? What sort of came first from a chicken and egg perspective?
Well, so like I said, we were meeting in coffee shops
Mhm.
and it started, anywhere between 1 to I think the biggest group we had was 12 women. And then eventually the coffee shop was like, you can't meet here. You're like, you're too big. You're too
Yeah.
big. So in 2018, I launched a leadership series. I found a place in Annapolis. I rented it every month, and I basically had a workshop a month. And there would be anywhere from 30 to 60 women in
Mm,
attendance. And we would talk on those topics that I found women really just needed a space to talk about: work-life balance, work finding the right clients, stress management, time management, all of these very key topics that regardless of what industry you're in, being a woman in leadership or in small
mhm,
business,
mhm.
it's a topic that you got to talk about.
Yeah.
So I ran those workshops 2018, 2019, and the Facebook group continued to grow because I continued conversations outside of the workshops. And because Facebook, everyone has access to Facebook, it started being like it wasn't just Annapolis. it started pulling in women from all over the world. So then
Right.
I was offering online courses, which transitioned us beautifully into COVID
Right.
because
Right.
2020, I wasn't hosting any in-person events.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot more things, online.
Yeah.
That's when I launched my podcast. And with the help of the ambassadors, I think all of us had to learn how to shift to an online
Mhm.
platform.
Mhm.
And so, I don't believe in coincidences. I think it all kind of needed to happen that way, that I
Yeah.
built my roots in my hometown. I built a name for myself here. And then the online platform allowed me to reach, women outside of my community and
Yeah.
build this online community for
Yeah.
them. And then in 2021, when we were all itching to get back in together, that's when I purchased my property, my own event space. And well, you know how that goes. Now I've got
Yeah.
this local networking and education group and a beautiful, beautiful co-working and event space where women can come together.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. So when you started the community from the perspective of let me give women a place where their voices can be heard, where they can connect with each other, did you have even a sparkle in your eye that all of these other things would begin to happen, the leadership workshops, the mastermind that you do, the ambassador program, etc.? Did you even fathom that at the time?
I'm going to be honest. I think that it was always a dream. And
Mm,
I remember Maureen Porto, she's another ambassador. Um, I remember us like doing a photo shoot. She's like, how do you want to build this? How do you want to grow this?
yeah.
My first photo shoot with her, I was so nervous and so awkward, even more awkward than I'm still awkward in front of a camera. And I said, someday I would love to have my own space
Mm,
and my
mhm.
own networking group and my own, but it was like, when you're wishing for something, but you almost don't believe that it would ever happen. Like
Yeah.
I know that sounds crazy, but like being like a kid saying, for my 10th birthday, I want a unicorn.
Yeah, right.
So I think deep down, I knew that this is what I really wanted. I just didn't know exactly how I was going to get there. And I
Yeah.
trusted the process. I
Yeah.
trusted myself. I trusted when opportunities came, I grabbed onto them with both hands. And, even with my work with you, sometimes something doesn't make sense to me and we talk about it. And I say, well, I just have to trust that this is
Right.
leading me where I'm meant to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
That love it. I love that. And it's really that testament to like we don't just come up with these wild ideas. Like
Mhm.
many of these ideas are what God gives us. And
Yeah.
so we come from a place of, well, I don't know how it will happen. This is what I see and God will lead me in the right ways. And he's absolutely done that with what you've built. So now, how does the community I have so many questions about the community. How does the community now help connect people? How does it provide opportunities for your leading lady ambassadors? Because it has grown far beyond just being a place for people to connect,
Yeah.
because it actually is connecting your clients to their ideal clients.
Yes, and it took me a while to understand that. Like, I felt a lot of pressure. Running an online community isn't something that is easy. It takes a lot of nurturing and, really making sure that you uphold the integrity of the mission of
Yeah.
why you created a community. I mean, go to any Facebook group that's large, and they kind of morph into their own beast. If you don't have someone really moderating it and making sure that it's in line with the mission, which my mission, it was to support and empower women, to inspire, to give women a place to inspire others.
Mhm.
But you pull any group of people together with common
Right.
challenges, and it can very easily turn into like a vent fest, like
Yes.
everybody just airing their
Yes.
grievances. So I don't want to skip over that.
Yeah.
That was incredibly difficult in building that. And I think I finally came to a place where I said, this isn't my community. This is our community.
Mm, mm.
And when you can set your ego aside and say, this isn't all about me, this is about the people in this community, it allowed me to share the responsibility, to share the, I guess, the weight. And I don't want to say it's weight as in like it's a burden, but it is a weight. It is,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, you know. And so the ambassador program, when I launched that in 2019, of having ambassadors share their expertise. And let me just say that all of the ambassadors I have personally worked with.
Mhm.
I know them. I've vetted
Right.
them. I've done the work of really searching for the best of the best in each industry that the ambassadors represent, because again, a core value of mine is excellence. And
Mhm.
so when I refer someone to work with an ambassador, I trust that that level of excellence is there,
That's right.
that
Yeah.
they're going to work with my clients exactly how, I mean, I would, with the same quality that I would. They're going to be heart focused and have integrity and,
Right.
care
Right.
about the person, not the profit. And so that was really important to me. So the ambassadors, as our program grew, the ambassadors were able to show up and truly support the community. It's not a sales pitch. It's not, oh, hey, do business with all these ambassadors. It's, hey, these are some pretty awesome resources.
Mhm.
Introduce these women to you. And that's that's really what it's all about, is just taking the community and providing resources and giving a place where the women don't have to sift through a whole lot of nonsense.
Mhm.
um, and that's not to be mean. It's just,
No.
there's a lot of advertising and marketing out
Yes.
there of things that are not quality.
Yes.
They're just
Yes.
not quality. And so I've done the work for the community. I'm saying you can trust these women.
Mhm.
Trust
Yeah. Yeah.
and the ambassadors, you all stepped up. You stepped up. You truly provide so much value to the community. And like I said, it in a people first approach that
Yeah.
really is about lifting each other up.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I really appreciate about your community, and from day one, when I started following it and joined the group on Facebook and not really even knowing you personally, is that I always sensed that this community was not created to give Alice Ann a place to sell Alice Ann's services. And so many times I think we hear from the gurus to like start your community,
Mhm,
because if you don't have a Facebook group, you're missing out on the opportunity to sell within that group.
mhm,
And I know of a few groups that way. And it's never felt like that in your group. I love what you said earlier. It's like removing your ego from it, that
mhm,
you wanted to create a place for these women, and then out of that grew these opportunities where you could see, because of your moderating and your interaction in the group, you know what, they could use a master class on this. And
mhm.
then in creating your ambassador program, which for those of you that, want to learn more and connect with Alice Ann, that'll all be in the show notes. But the ambassadors, and I'm one of them, are really, this mastermind of experts.
Mhm.
And like you were saying, giving your community these resources to tap into
Yeah.
versus the community being all about, let me create a place where I can fish.
Right.
Yeah.
No, no. I wanted to create a place where we could all eat, if so to
Yes.
speak,
I love that. Yeah.
So it's and I'm just one person.
Right.
I'm one person. And my expertise lies in my experiences and my perspective. The community is vast and diverse, and the women have so many different needs. There's no possible way I could serve every woman and what she
Exactly.
needs
Yeah.
in that community. And isn't that like a huge revelation for
Yes.
achieving women? I can't do it all. I
Right.
cannot do it all.
Right.
And we're not meant to do it all.
No.
And so pulling those ambassadors in and having this place where they can share their expertise and truly be a resource. Everybody eats.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Oh, that's beautiful.
yeah.
I love that.
There's just so much richness and goodness there.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the logistics and sort of pull back the curtain, if you will, on a community. Um, in a minute, I'm going to ask you, like, what are sort of the 2 or 3 things that somebody needs to think about before they start a community? But tell me, how do you keep this community from melting into the Vent Fest? How
Mhm.
do you really keep it a place that's uplifting and empowering, but also authentic? Because, I know I've posted things and others that people rally around to lift up. How do you do it? How much time does it take you? And what other resources perhaps have you engaged to keep the community running the way you envisioned?
Yeah, I feel like this could be like an episode all on its own.
Right.
And, and I know we'll talk about this, but we have a book coming out,
Yes.
and one of my chapters actually breaks down how to do this.
Yes.
And if you're interested in building a community, but I think number one is know your mission.
Mm,
Know your mission, and who is meant to be in this group, in the group, that community that you're growing. Know your mission and check in with that mission often.
mhm.
Often, because as your group grows, people are going to say, I love your group, but if you let us do this, I
Right.
get more. And if you're a people pleaser, or if you're
Mm,
trying to be inclusive, which inclusivity is so important, and it's also important that it doesn't steer you away from the mission of your group. It's going to be so
mm.
hard for you to say, ah, yeah, I could see how you would love that in the group. That doesn't fit what I'm trying to
Yes.
do.
Yes.
And I've had hundreds, probably thousands of
I
people
bet.
leave my group because they don't like how I run it.
Right.
They like a big thing is when members ask for referrals, or they ask, I'm looking for a plumber, and people start listing off all these names of Mr. Joe Smith down the road, blah blah. Yeah, no, I delete those comments, and I have to do a gentle reminder. If you're giving a referral, please make sure that it's a leading lady member,
Yeah.
because that's the point of the group is to lift each other up.
Yeah.
How awkward would that be if we were standing in somebody's kitchen and you're a plumber and somebody walked up and said, hey, does anybody know a plumber? And the woman next to you knows that you're a plumber and says, my friend Joe Smith down the street
Right.
is who I would recommend you to.
Yeah.
So, like, really going back to what is the purpose of the group, and
Mm.
not being afraid to push back
Yeah.
when membership wants to steer you a different direction.
Mm.
It takes a lot of work. You have to moderate your group every day. Every day, you have to check in. You have to read your comments that people are posting on there. I would suggest, at least, because it's hard. My group's mission is difficult to stick to. I turn the post approval on. So no one,
Mm.
I have to review posts before they're put on there. You can't do that for comments. So you have to be actively reading comments and conversations in you.
Yeah.
And anything that doesn't fit, make sure that you have clear guidelines for the group so you can delete it and check why that comment was deleted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have support. My ambassadors help with moderating that. I'll get a message, hey, AliceAnne, take a look at this comment. I don't know
Right.
if that fits. They also help with engagement. The ambassadors aren't on there selling, every single post that they do. They are truly a resource. They're sharing discussion topics, they're asking questions, they're offering support, and that engagement truly helps keep the community uplifting.
Yeah.
Celebrate each other. Celebrate each
Mm.
other. People want to feel validated. They want to feel acknowledged. They want to feel included. So, and I'm not talking about celebrating big things. Celebrate the small things. Celebrate,
Yes. Yeah.
washing your hair on a Tuesday, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, like let women normalize um, life. That that
Mm.
that it's normalize it and celebrate it, I should
Yeah.
say. That we're all in it together. You know, same storm, different boat,
That's right.
and um, and just giving women a space to talk about their wins. And I would say the other key part for my community is we're solution focused.
Mhm.
So, yeah, there's going to be people who, well, I haven't had it in a long time, so I don't know if I can even say this. Maybe it's just so ingrained in the culture. We don't really have members that complain.
Mm-mm.
We
You
complain.
don't you've set it up in such a way that I think without saying it, people come in, they know that they're welcomed, they know
Mhm.
that they have a seat at the table, and they know that you don't entertain victim mentality.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And it's not because I don't have empathy or compassion. It's because, like if you're going to complain about it, then
Right.
let's look for a solution for it.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
you are only in control of your attitude and your effort.
That's
Nothing
right.
is happening to you, it's just happening. So, how are you going to approach it? How are you going to think about it? And what resources do you need to support you through that?
Right.
And I don't think I've ever explicitly said that anywhere, but we just don't have complainers. They come in and they say, "Hey, I'm going through this. This is really hard. What do you think? What should I do? How do I
Right.
how do I make this better?"
Yeah.
And the community just swarms in to lift her up and share.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, yeah.
These are such great points around really the logistics. I am curious why you've chosen to be the hands-on reviewer of the posts and all of that when you could outsource that.
Hmm. Okay. Do you want the nice answer or
I want
the
the real and whatever answer.
well, number one is I am meticulously controlling. Come on, Erin. You've been my coach for 2 years. You know
Oh,
that.
no.
No.
I want the rest of the world to know.
Well, number 1, I think that if if you really wanna uphold the integrity and the mission of your
Mm.
community, no one knows it better than you.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah. No one knows it better than you. And so if something slips through, I take ownership of that. I correct it. I rectify it. I reach out to the poster and tell her why something's being taken down. I carry that, and I'm okay with that because then I can say this is my group.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Number 2, I think that it really allows me. So I'm an introvert, and so a lot of these conversations and discussions that go deep, that's that's my like sweet spot. Like,
That's right.
yeah,
Yes.
like I don't want to talk about the weather, but if you want to pour your soul out to me, I'm your girl.
Yes.
So I feel like I really get to know my community because I'm
Mm,
the
mm,
person.
mhm.
Um, I don't read the comments as if they are from strangers. I read them as if they're from friends.
Yeah.
And I think that allows me to answer with empathy, compassion, grace, and love.
Yeah.
And so, those are huge things for me. So, I like that. I like having that personal touch in there. And number three is I think it helps me keep a pulse on what the community is really struggling with.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I love about there's so many things I love about this, that you've chosen to do this, because so often we hear like build the community and then bring in administrators and all the things.
Mhm.
But the reason that you're doing this, that allows you to be hands-on and to really know and understand this community of 6,500 women, some
Mhm.
of whom are really active and some who aren't, but that it allows you to work in your sweet spot.
Mhm.
So often, I think the message is outsource everything.
Mm.
But what I hear in this is keep what's your sweet spot. That
Yeah.
could seem like a lot of work, and it
Mhm.
is a lot of work. You've said that it's not easy, but because this is the piece that you love, not the administration of it, but the connection of it,
Mhm.
which is why you created the community in the first place. It's the
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
Oh,
People are often they're often surprised when they message the group, because you just kind of like send it into the ethos. You're like
right.
admin, and they're often surprised when they hear back from me, and they're like,
Right. Wait, what?
I'm talking to AliceAnne, the
Yeah.
person who runs the group, and I'm like, who else would you be talking to?
Right.
But
Yes.
we've been in groups where you ask questions or you post something,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
some random like, "Hi, this is Kelly, and I'm speaking on behalf of blah blah blah
Right.
blah." And I want to. I'm like, wait a minute, like, oh, I'm in this group, and I don't even get to interact with the person. Like, the person doesn't care enough about me
Yeah.
to know me as a member.
Right.
And maybe that is my ego talking. I don't know, but I want my members to know that they're not just a stranger on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
They're like I truly do care. I
Yeah.
care about you having to pull yourself together. I think early on I did a video. My son was having oral surgery and it was like his third one. It was
Mm.
horrible. He knocked his front teeth out. And I had to go speak to a large group that day. So my husband had to take him to the surgery. Well, if you've ever had like a child hurt and they're crying and they want mommy and I posted on there, I'm like, here I
Right.
go.
Right.
And I knew he was fine. I knew he was with a capable parent, a loving parent.
Right.
But that mom guilt, man, that like
Yeah.
kills you. And the number of women that reached out sharing like so many times, thank you for acknowledging that. It's
Yes.
hard. And so I think that if people didn't get to interface with me, it would feel disingenuous.
Yeah. Mm.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
So I have 2 last questions for you. Um, and I wanna end with the book. So this is selfishly my question for you.
Mhm.
What has it meant to have I mean, you're a coach. Why did you feel like you needed to have a coach? And what has it meant to work with a coach that puts faith forward, in the coaching?
Can I love bomb you now?
Go for it.
So I believe everyone needs a coach. Everyone needs a coach, everyone needs a therapist, and they're two very different things.
Yes, they are.
Um, but coaches need coaches because I am human first. I'm a person just like everyone else, and I have my own blocks. I
Mm,
have my own blind spots. I have my own gremlins that tell me fill my head with negative mind chatter, my own limiting beliefs, my own assumptions. Um, I'm human.
right.
And so having the opportunity to work with you, with a coach that doesn't have my specific blocks of
Right.
me,
Yeah.
you're able to shine light. I often say that coaching is like when a child comes and says, "Oh, there's a big scary monster under my bed. I can't go in my room. I can't." And the coach pulls the bedspread
Right.
and shines a flashlight on it and says, "Don't be scared. It's just a sock."
Right.
So your coach, you help shine the light on the things that are big and scary for me, and that hold me back in some
Yeah.
ways. You help me see the blocks that I have, and you help me um, process things from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I only have my perspective. So getting to work with a
Right.
coach, getting to work with you helps me zoom out.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredibly important.
Yeah.
I also knew that something was missing in my business, and I knew that that was my spirituality. I'm a deeply spiritual person. Had a lot of church hurt, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, and working with someone who understood those challenges for me, and was you were able to guide me with love and compassion, and trust
Mm.
to go to a very vulnerable. I mean, spirituality is so intimate. It's so
Yeah.
intimate. There is
Yeah.
no relationship more intimate than the relationship you have with God.
Mm.
And so being able to work with someone that you love and you trust, and yes, you can love your coach. I do love you.
I feel
Uh,
the same.
but to have someone walk with you on such an intimate journey, um, and it was truly important to me to bring God and my spirituality into the work that I do, because I couldn't
Mm.
do the work that I do without
That's right.
him.
Yeah.
So it's that was so important. So I found the right coach to help me with
Mm.
that very specific hole that I had, that's very specific block that I had. And did I answer those questions?
That was I'm humbled. Thank you for
Thank
thank
you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Working with you has changed my life.
Oh,
Changed my life. So thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you. Tell us about the book. So
Ah!
first, let me say, AliceAnne does have a book that she published in 2022. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Take the
Is it
lead.
2022? Yes.
Yes, I feel like that was forever. Take the lead. You want to go read it. It's very vulnerable. It is real. It is so beautiful. And she is the lead author in a compilation about being women leaders. So tell us about We Lead.
Oh my goodness. Again, I feel like we wrapped up like 3 episodes in this live today. So, We Lead, yes, it's a compilation. The ambassadors each contributed their chapter, their story. It is a beautiful book, and has been a long time coming,
Yeah.
in that, I wasn't sure it was going to make it out into the world, and here it is. It's going to be out in just a couple weeks. And it's really just a look at each ambassador and her story. And she shares a strategy in her chapter of how she did something in her business, or how you might be able to apply it to your business or your life. And, but it's not just business. And that's what's really beautiful about this book,
Mm.
is that any woman reading it, any person reading it, will be able to take the tools and the strategies and apply it either personally or professionally, no matter where you are. You don't even have to be a business owner. It's,
Right.
each chapter is so rich and vulnerable and heartfelt. I think that everyone who reads it is going to have some pretty major takeaways from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's been so much fun doing this project with you all. And I'm just excited to have it out there in the world. And like I said, one of my chapters is about building community. So if you're thinking about building a community, I share how I built Leading Ladies, and kind of what the key pillars are, to create a successful community, online or offline. Mhm.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yay! This is so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so watch out for that book. I put the link there if anybody wants to be part of the launch team. We're doing that right now, so you want to get on that today. So, AliceAnne, tell us where people can find you. Where do you like to hang out?
I like to hang out at home.
But don't go to her house. We're not
Don't
giving
go
you
to my house.
the
No, you can find me on Facebook. You can join the Leading Ladies with AliceAnne Loftus private community. You do have to request to join, but we'd love to have you. And I spend a lot of time on Instagram too. So you can find me there if you like to see kind of behind the scenes stuff, and just what's going on in my world. I tend to spend most of my time there. But really just go to my website, book a call with me. If you just want to chat, just want to say hello, I'm
Do
happy
it.
to do that too. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And, but just, I'm pretty easy to find.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much for this conversation today. I know we covered a lot. I know we went a little bit longer audience than we normally do, but these pieces about community are so important. And thank you for being just real to tell us like the ins and outs and the things that are hard and that sort of thing, because we don't have time for the sugarcoating and chasing the squirrels. Like we
Yeah.
need to know, what is this really going to take and why is it useful? So thanks for being my guest today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, remember that God made you ambitious, but he did not make you to do business as usual. And until next time, I pray for and encourage you to tune out the world, tune into God's truth, and turn up focus as you build your thriving kingdom business. I'll see you on the next episode.